Hi, everybody. It's Eric Murray from the sugarhuddle.com. Well, it was a shocking outcome in Monday night's college football national championship game. Um, you know, Alabama and Clemson, two best teams in college football all year long, like they've been for the last 4 years now. No shock that the two of them reached a national title game out in Santa Clara, California. Obviously, not a ton of hype or buzz for this game like past games. A lot of people kind of have fatigue from this matchup, but nonetheless, it was one of those deals that you had the two best teams in college football squaring off, playing for the title. Everybody assumed, whether you had interest in the game or not, that it would be a close, hard-fought game, two strong offenses, two strong defenses, and for the first just over a quarter, 16, 17, 18, 20 minutes into the game, it looked like a classic. It looked like the knockdown, drag-out battle that we expected, except it was a defense optional kind of game because both sides were scoring pretty effortlessly early on. You know, Tua Tagovailoa, he throws a pick six on Alabama's first drive. Really bad read, just a third offensive play for Alabama. And then he's able to come right back, long touchdown pass. Clemson answers right back, goes up 14-7. They have Trevor Lawrence has a 62-yard completion, and then a Travis Etienne 17-yard touchdown run. And then Alabama was able to drive right back down the field, make it 14-13, misses the extra point. And then eventually they soon get the ball back, kick a field goal, make it 16-14. So 16 minutes, which is obviously a quarter plus the first minute of the second quarter, 16 minutes into the game exactly, Alabama had a 16-14 lead on Clemson. And if I would have told you that Clemson would end up winning the game 44-16, meaning that they would score 30 unanswered points at the end of the game, you'd probably tell me that I'm crazy, because it does sound crazy that Alabama, especially a Nick Saban-led Alabama team, would get just absolutely destroyed like they did. You know, they've had a couple of, well, actually three in the Saban era, 3 14-point losses in the past, several years back, and they lose this one by 28 points, 4 touchdowns. It's just so hard to fathom. And I've kind of talked about different points kind of in this NFL regular season about how we've kind of seen the Patriots do things that are kind of out of character and not very Patriot-like. And, you look at Alabama in this game, they went for 6 times on fourth down and were 3 of 6. They tried to fake a field goal. It was a terrible fake. They didn't get it. That was in the second half. They were down 31-16 at halftime already. They had some, Tua Tagovailoa, for the great year he's had, 2 questionable interceptions in the first half. Alabama's defense just couldn't stop Clemson. True freshman and Trevor Lawrence just completely poured it on him. 347 yards and 3 touchdowns. Alabama gave up all these long completions and big plays. There was a 74-yard touchdown pass in the second half they gave up to Justin Ross, who had, I think, 153 receiving yards, I believe, was his final tally. So, it was just very uncharacteristic from Alabama's point of view. And from Clemson, it kind of shows that they're Alabama's equals, because it's kind of like, Alabama's the top program in college football, and Clemson's a very, very close number 2. And now it's a 1A, 1B, take your pick who's better, because they're both certainly equals. For Clemson, this is their 8th year in a row now that they've won 10-plus games. They finished 15-0, became the first team since 1897, the Penn Quakers, to have a 15-0 season. So, this is a program in Clemson that they've been around. They've been a good contender for a while, but now the last 4 years, 4 straight playoff appearances, 3 national title games in 4 years, and now winning 2 national titles in 3 years. Nick Saban's only national title game losses, he's 6-2 in title games, and both losses, of course, now in the last 3 years to Clemson. So, it's one of those things that Clemson has certainly become Alabama's equal, because I think a lot of people were a little bit skeptical. One of the knocks on Clemson coming into this playoff is that their regular season schedule wasn't the greatest, and after they blew out Notre Dame, I think a lot of people said, it really doesn't matter too much. And then this game, a lot of people wondered, Trevor Lawrence, true freshman, Tua Tagovailoa, came off the bench and won a national title in the second half of last year's title game. But can Trevor Lawrence against Alabama's defense, can he do it? And the thing about it is, and I think Todd McShay said this, ESPN's Todd McShay, that Trevor Lawrence, he looked like he was basically a guy who's been in college for 3 or 4 years already. I mean, he just has, such a command of the offense. It's just unbelievable. His reads, he's got amazing receivers, which includes T. Higgins and Justin Ross, and just it's just unbelievable. I mean, the athletes they have, they match, Alabama player for player, and that's something that in past years when Alabama was winning all these titles, you couldn't say there was one particular team that year in and year out could match them, can match their program in every single facet. And you look at Clemson, that's exactly what they're doing. So, not surprisingly, Clemson, they're already the favorites to win next year's title. And, if you have fatigue over these two teams who've played each other in the playoff now 4 years in a row, well, guess what? They're probably going to play each other 5 years in a row until we expand this playoff to at least 8 teams. Should have been 16 from the beginning, like all the other divisions. But, until we expand it to 8 teams, the odds of either one getting upset in a semifinal game before getting to the title, very low. So, very good chance that these two play for a title again next year. But one thing you're seeing right now is there's just a big gap. I mean, when you look at the quality of Clemson's program and the quality of Alabama's program, and then you look at that second group, the second wave of programs, the Ohio States, the Oklahomas, the Georgias, the Notre Dames of the world, there's just a major drop-off, and it's really just kind of amazing to see, how dominant two programs can be over the rest of college football. Because, you expect, like in the NBA, for instance, you expect a couple of teams to be head and shoulders above everybody else year in and year out for X amount of years before their shelf life expires. But you don't expect it necessarily in college football, even with all the dynasties we've seen over years. You don't expect one or two teams to just completely be way better than even the really close teams, and it's pretty remarkable. But nonetheless, just an unbelievable game for Clemson. And Alabama, Nick Saban very rarely gets out coached. Tua Tagovailoa was unbelievable against Oklahoma. Big bounce back after that SEC title game where he struggled badly, obviously, and it cost him the Heisman. And then this game, you look at it and you're almost like, wow, Kyler Murray had a great year, but you almost want to give the Heisman to Trevor Lawrence because he was so great down the stretch. He was so unbelievable in this playoff. And I think some of the lessons we learn out of this too is that a lot of people outside the SEC, there's a SEC fatigue, and the SEC tends to get the benefit of the doubt a lot of times, with these rankings and everything else. And I can understand it. I don't really have anything against the SEC personally, but I think what it does is maybe they get less of a benefit of the doubt now because, look, Alabama's still great, but you look at the rest of the league, seeing how Georgia blew that lead against Alabama again for a second year in a row, and then seeing how they got beat up against Texas and some of the other top SEC teams weren't very good this bowl season. I think, the SEC is going to get less of a benefit of the doubt. Be interesting to see, how that kind of affects playoff rankings and the actual playoff seedings in the future. But again, it's all about Clemson, and here they are, a program that for years and years and years, they were always so talented and had all kinds of NFL prospects, always kind of, found a way to underachieve. And then these last, 8 years, they've won all these games in the last 4, competing for national titles every year, 2 out of 3. Congratulations to Dabo Swinney and company. Another great year and a chance to really make it a dynasty with possibly 3 out of 4 after next year. And it really helps the ACC because the ACC isn't a real great conference as far as the quality of the teams. Got a lot of competitive teams, but I think it shows that they're, for not having real great teams outside of Clemson right now, they're still a pretty competitive conference that you got to watch out for, and Clemson definitely makes them look really, really good right now. So congratulations to Clemson. But anyways, please go to sugarhuddle.com. Please like my Facebook page, which is the Sugar Huddle, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.